Hello, everyone. Do you hear me? Good evening. Thank you so much for the attendance tonight. My name's Howard Stern, and I am the chair of Pierpont Community Council. So I'm here to just welcome everyone here, and we organized this obviously with the city, so we thank them for coming. But I just want to say a couple words in terms of, we have our meetings every other month, and we would encourage you to attend them. We do have signs outside on the corner there if you see them, and we do have sent an email blast. For those of you who are not on the email blast, if you could send us your email information to pierpontcommunitycouncil@gmail.com, and I'll put you on the distribution list. It'd be great for you guys to attend to be truthful, the attendance has been really anemic the past year, okay? And we used to have them every month. Now we have them every other month. We have had Sinclair and the city come speak 3 times during the last year to give updates. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of attendance. It is a lot of hard work to do that. We don't just talk about that, we talk about other issues also if you ever want to get involved. But this is just, since I have everyone here tonight, I just thought I'd do a shout out if you guys, and then encourage you guys to attend or listen, and it would be great. So I appreciate it. Sure, Pierpont Community Council @gmail.com. That'll go to that, and then I'll make sure you're on the distribution list. So thank you guys for coming, and I'm going to hand it over to Alex right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Howard. Thanks, everybody. I'm Alex Mangone. I'm your City Council representative here for District 7. This is really important for myself and the staff to make this meeting happen, and I think we all greatly appreciate the efforts everyone's made to be here tonight. So I'd like to thank Todd Tyner, the principal of Pierpont Elementary, for hosting this meeting. I think this is the appropriate location, and the efforts that staff put into this meeting, we might not have had the same turnout if we did this at City Hall or anywhere else in the city. So this is a great thing. So yeah, thanks again to staff. We have staff here from Ventura Police Department, Ventura Water, the city attorney's office, the city manager's office. They're all here. So the city is taking this very seriously, and I'd like to thank also, again, Howard, Pierpont Bay Community Council Chair. He's right. If you can, sign up to get the email notifications for those meetings. The city staff from Ventura Water and the city attorney's office has been there a few times this year to give updates on the Sinclair gas station situation. So Pierpont Bay Community Council is much different than other community councils we have in the city. They are very focused on this neighborhood. So it's really important that everyone in this room sign up for those alerts. Meetings every other Thursday at the credit union property right here on Vista Del Mar. Howard runs a tight ship, so the meetings are generally about an hour long. So I'd urge you to do that. And yeah, so we're going to hand it off to staff. I'm going to hand it off to Chief Dickey. And thanks again for coming.
Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. You can go ahead and slide up. So I'm going to talk about the words in a second. But I want to address up front. First of all, I know many of you on a first name basis. I've been working out here for literally 3 decades. I just want to say thank you. The attendance is amazing, and clearly we want to make sure that we answer your questions and address your concerns. So this is kind of a 2-part thing. Everything we do here in the city is part of a team effort. My part of that team is from my department. We oversee the messaging, which I'm going to address right up front. But before I get there, I want to tell you a couple quick things. Who here has been in a committed relationship for, let's just say, 5 to 10 plus years? Okay, all right. I love the answer. Great. So I'm going to share a little bit about myself. I made the best decision of my life back in 1998, and I married Alicia. We have 2 beautiful kids who like me most of the time. They're adults now. And Alicia and I are still married. We love each other. The like part is a day-to-day thing, as many of you know, but the love is there. Here's my point. As a young man being married, if I learned this lesson that I know now, back then, the sailing would have been much smoother with my wife and in our marriage. And it's a simple concept. When you do something wrong, say sorry. You're going to hear me say sorry on behalf of the city because of a mistake that my department made. So I'll tell you another story. So I was about 15 years old. very close to my dad. My brother and I are both in policing. My dad had a big part of that. My dad was a mill manager out at the Port Hueneme paper mill for about 43 years. And one day I didn't wash the car on a Saturday that I was told. He came home from work. I'll cut through all the details and I won't use some of the expletives that he used. But what he did do is he embarrassed me in front of my friends. And when he embarrassed me in front of my friends snuck out of the house because my dad's name was Bert. And when Bert was mad, you knew Bert was mad and it was time to leave. My dad, unbeknownst to me, sent me up to my room. It wasn't the only time I got sent up to my room. And my dad, unbeknownst to me, called my friends, had them come back to the house. This is gonna get good because he's gonna get, a second pound of flesh out of David in front of the friends. No, he surprised me, and it's a lesson that's always stuck with me. He apologized to me in front of my friends. It's always stuck with me. Stick with me this day, and that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about tonight. I'll make this make sense in a second. There's the words and there's the timeline. You guys have the handouts. It talks about the fact that the first two messages went out to landlines only. Clearly, that's not the way that we should have done that. It should have gone out to not just the landlines, it should have gone out to everybody's cell phones as well. That was our mistake. I own that. It falls under me, and I'll tell you how we've fixed it, but I want to look you in the eye and tell you that I own that. That was a mistake on our part. It won't happen again. I apologize. We did do other messaging through social media, Facebook, Instagram, Nextdoor. We used all of our websites to push that out as well. We had the city's dedicated web page. We also got with our local media partners as well. We did all of that stuff. But you know what we didn't do? You didn't get messages on your cell phone. That should have happened. I'll tell you why. Because simply familiarity with the system that we were using and the nuanced neighborhood that we needed to push it out to, a simple box did not get checked on the system. Since that happened, immediately upon knowing that, we actually fixed that, and the messages that came out the next day addressed that, and everyone got the messages. What we've done since then is we've completely changed the procedure. We also have a check and balance in place. We've created templates that make it much easier to do, to make sure that we troubleshoot those before they go out. And we're also actually, it's been in the game plan, I've been chief now for about 6 months. These are the great parts about being chief, by the way, when you get to show up and say, I'm sorry. But I'll do it every time because we do a lot of good stuff as well. But when I told you guys when I break stuff, I'll come out and say sorry, and that's what I'm here to do tonight. We have fixed this. We have some drills and some training that we're going to do additionally with command staff that will also provide additional oversight. Up front, I wanted to come up here and tell you that. So on behalf of the Ventura Police Department, the City of Ventura, again, I am sorry. We missed this one. We'll get it right next time. Okay?
Yes.
So with that, I'm going to be out here for the duration of the meeting. Some of my staff are here as well. I am not a technical expert on water, but I am standing right next to the smartest water person I've ever met in my life. Gina Dorrington is going to take the lead from here. So here we go.
Okay. Thank you, Chief Dickey. Thank you very much. And the support from the police department, the fire department, the legal department, the city management office today, and then all of you. The strength of the community here this evening to address the concerns you've had and looking out for one another is remarkable. And I appreciate, no matter how you feel and what situation you were facing last week, you're here tonight to hear from us the details of what happened. So I greatly appreciate that. As David introduced, I am Gina Dorrington. I am the general manager for Ventura Water. Ventura Water is the water and wastewater utility for the city. We are part of the city. And we are responsible for the health and safety of every single customer within the city of Ventura. I want to go back and I want to go over what this community has been experiencing for the past year and what we've been with you, alongside of you, if you didn't know. But I'm going to go through that. I'm going to go through the details of last week. But We have had comment cards. A lot of you submitted those. I want to get through the presentation before we start addressing questions and comments. So if you'll give me that space and time, I will try to be as fast as possible so that we can get out and get to the questions that you have. So let's go back over a year ago. This community faced two very scary situations, two evacuation orders. And those were from gasoline that had inundated the sewer line and moved down through the sewer line into the community all the way down through to Bayshore. And we attempted to repair that and prevent gasoline from coming into the line, and it failed twice. So again, your appreciation, understanding the concerns we had for your health and safety and needing to evacuate the area while we addressed the situation. So the gasoline came from the Sinclair gasoline gas station on the corner of Monmouth and Harbor Boulevard. Because we were unable to repair that sewer line, we took it out of service, and we had to create a bypass. And that sewer bypass is what is causing the inability for us to travel on Monmouth, and that's what's closed down Monmouth Way. As soon as we were notified that there had been gasoline leaking into the groundwater, we began testing all the utilities that run through that Monmouth Way. So there's a sewer line, there's a stormwater drain line, and there's a water line. And so out of the caution, just to make sure, typically, we don't expect water lines to be inundated with anything. They're under pressure, and the material is not something that can be penetrated in a water line. But because we knew that there was gasoline out there and we had an infrastructure that was exposed, we started a weekly sampling outside of what we're required to do by state law, and we started to just look weekly to see if we could see any sort of inundation that might come our way. So the city did declare this a local emergency, and the Regional Water Quality Control Board took over control of the Sinclair site and their monitoring program. So they're under a permit through the underground storage tank program to have mitigation measures and cleanup for the site. So we have been in communication with the regional board. We receive all the activities that Sinclair has been doing. To date, they have been doing all of their mitigation activities as permitted, and they continue to evolve as they go through that activity. And we have every reason to believe that there is not a threat to our water system, but I'll get into why we had to go through what we went through last week. So in addition to that, what's been happening on the city side, we did line our storm drain line so that we don't have any risk of gasoline inundating the storm drain system heading out to the ocean. And then we're in design, we're nearing construction, we're hoping to begin early next year of the sewer line replacement, and then that will allow us to go back into underground operations of our sewer line, and we can get rid of that bypass and open up Monmouth Way. So what happened last week? I talked about the weekly sampling. Out of precaution, we're running 3 samples along Pierpont Boulevard at Monmouth, at Peninsula, and at Seaward. And we were notified that the samples collected on the 17th of November had trace values of gasoline in them. So we had also taken samples the day before on the 24th, our weekly sampling we do every Monday. So we had samples that we had just collected, and we had the lab, we directed them to rerun the samples from the 17th and rush the samples from the 24th to get confirmation. And I'll go into why confirmation is important and what that means on a gasoline constituent. But on the 25th of November, we were directed by the State Division of Drinking Water to issue a do not use order. And that is when the notifications went out. This is where our sampling stations are in the red crosses. There are fire hydrants along Pierpont Boulevard. So our first sample came in at Pierpont and Monmouth at 300 parts per billion of gasoline compounds. And then the second site at Seaward and Pierpont was at 87 parts per billion. There was nothing detected at Pierpont and Peninsula. This is, as the information is coming into the city. So keeping in mind that there's future information that comes after this. This is a very fluid incident where data is coming in and we're trying to get things rerun and confirmed. But those were those samples were. So given the fact that we knew we had a site that was contaminated with gasoline for about a year, we had infrastructure in that location, and we had 2 of 3 samples come back. It was out of abundance of caution with the State Division of Drinking Water and with city staff and city officials that we issued that do not use order. So originally, there was a larger section that was issued of where the do not use order was, and that was so to give us time to start narrowing down how the system was set and where, in fact, those where, in fact, in the system, those areas could have been affected. So the system is built that water is supplied through various different water mains, and we were concerned about any water that had passed through that Monmouth line main. So we went ahead and issued a larger order that was for that was done through the VC alert system, reverse dial, social media, and the city's website. As a precaution, we went ahead and isolated the Monmouth Way line off of service. So it is no longer transferring water to any of the community. We quickly went out and procured bottled water for drinking and for use. Had 2 distribution centers set up at Marina Park and 1 at San Juan, the city's maintenance yard. And we procured service trailers for our neighboring hotels for restrooms, showers, hand washing, and laundry. So going back to the protocol, why did we have to notify you? Why couldn't we have waited for confirmation? I mentioned the factors that we had: a contaminated area, we knew the water line was traveling through, and we had 2 out of 3 samples that were testing positive. We are a permitted water system through the state of California and water law, and the Division of Drinking Water issues us that permit. And with that permit, they set certain standards. We have to have continuing monitoring of bacterial and chemical constituents, and we need to have an emergency response plan for when water quality comes back at a level that could risk public health. Most constituents on our reporting have notification levels or maximum contaminant levels, and those are set so conservatively so that the state has time to evaluate and reevaluate the data. But with gasoline, it's not a constituent that's supposed to be in water, and there is no threshold. So it was an immediate do not use, bearing on the side of caution that this could be a possibility, and the state and the city wanted to make sure that no one was in harm's way after this notification. So that is why it was issued as an immediate threat. That is why we had the do not use while we continue to pursue resampling and rerunning to confirm. So on November 25th, the original samples were reanalyzed, the ones that we collected on the 17th, and we issued, we asked for the samples on November 24th to be rushed as well. In order to lift the order, we needed to have those results verified and cleared. So we did get verbal notification. Those samples rerun on the 25th that they were actually a false positive. That the samples that were run ahead of our samples that were totally unrelated, they're a different client that went into the laboratory, had such a high volume of gasoline in it that it carried over into not only our first sample, but our second sample. So the lab verified that. We went through the verification process, and then we had to provide to the state that the results, a letter of explanation from the laboratory. The laboratory is also regulated through the Environmental Laboratory Accreditation Program with the state of California, and they have protocols that they have to go through. So we are working with them as they work through their corrective action as well. We had to provide the state a map of the water line taken out of service and show them that how the community is going to get water now through our service lines, and show them that there's no more exposure through that contaminated site. and then had to show them the sample locations of our follow-up sampling. So not only did we do follow-up sampling for the 3 locations that we have been doing weekly for over a year, we added 3 locations up above on Harbor to make sure that the entire system was safe. So on November 26, 2025, we gave everything to the state. They evaluated it, and they gave us the clearance to lift the order, and messaging went out at 12:15. We are continuing to test weekly. We have collected the sample this Monday. As I mentioned, we're working with the laboratory on going through their corrective action. And the additional samples that we collected on November 26th came back as well as non-detect, confirming that the system is safe. So a lot of questions came in during this time about the groundwater was contaminated, and that is true. The groundwater in this area is contaminated, but our groundwater supply is not at risk. And so I wanted to just sort of give a map and a clarification of where our water supplies that feed this area. All right, so the question was if this is going to be available to everyone afterwards. We're recording this. We will provide the PowerPoint on our website and the video. So thank you. So you in Pierpont belong to the 210 pressure zone. The city consists of over 14 pressure zones. And it's fed from various water sources depending on availability and time of year. You can see that our Ventura River source is over 6 miles away from this area, and then our wells are located at least 4 miles away. So our groundwater supplies and our river supply are not in any sort of threat. The do not use order was in the red location, and the Sinclair remediation site is in even a smaller area than that. So I just wanted to clarify with all of you that are, and with the city as a whole, that our water supplies are safe. They are not at risk from this activity at Sinclair. So now going further into how we know the system's safe, what we've done to make sure that the water flowing across the Sinclair site is not getting into the community. I'm going to point out here, but I'm probably going to call out our expert, our distribution manager, to tell you what he and his team have done. But essentially, that Monmouth Way, that corner there, is where the remediation site is, where we call it the plume of the gasoline, and our water line is passing through it. What we know now today from the notification of the false positive is our water line's integrity has remained in place. But so I don't have the plume. I'm just it's running through and it touches Monmouth, so I don't have that available for you. But we took that line out of service, Monmouth Way. So we do not have a water line that's going through that. Now the water, as you can see, and a lot of people had questions about why did my neighbor get notified, but I didn't. Why across the street is it okay? And it's just the way neighborhoods are built and how distribution systems get added on. And we have the ability to move water around in different directions if needed. And so this is one of those areas where we have alternate ways to get water to the community, down through San Pedro, down through Seaward, well, not really Seaward, but through Peninsula, and then the water moves through the city. So cutting this line off only left Motel 6 without water line service, so we did have to work through the weekend to bring Motel 6 a new water line, but that has been isolated now. So we are going to continue to test at these 3 locations. We're going to continue to test now along Harbor Boulevard. We don't have any reason to believe that there will be infiltration of gasoline into the line, but we want to be that conservative. And honestly, I'm standing here before you making the decision a year ago to go ahead and add additional sampling to our budget and our time was very well worth the while, because we can show you that throughout time it's been non-detect. So this really was a false positive and erroneous sample that was collected. So that is what I have for you. Jeremy, do you want to take I'm going to have Jeremy Hansen come up. He is our water distribution manager, and just real quickly give one more overview for the community.
Can you hear me? So the water flow direction will come from the west down harbor and the east down harbor, and it'll drop into the neighborhood through like Beachmont. It can come down through that way. Seaward, the line does not go through. So those are the only two directions that the water's flowing through. So the isolation point was here. We're still feeding around it as it goes through the neighborhood. This one right here, this line is, there's nothing wrong with that line. So with this isolated, the water just goes straight through. Okay.
Great. I'm a little confused on the directions. You've got them directional. Are those directions to be ignored, or are they actually directional?
The arrows are directional.
So the arrows are directional.
Both directions. If we close something over here, the line can flow that way. So it can flow. No matter what valves we close, the line can flow in any direction.